And we have people being like, oh, it can't happen here. Yeah, it can. And it might.
These people, they're not interested in the facts. They're not interested in anything except crushing people that are in their way.
There needs to be a formal deprogramming of the cult members.
A strong church can stop this.
Scary.
Really bad.
What gives you a sense of hope?
My family.
Make connections with people from all over the world.
Faith in God. I really believe in God.
Yes, there is hope.
Our only hope is in God.
There's a very important movie called The Firing Squad that you must see.
There has never been a better time for the message of hope that shines through this movie.
Together, we can save America.
Former President Trump. Congress today holding the third of 3 hearings. The FBI director tells lawmakers what we know about the shooter and his motive. NTD's Arian Bazdar has the highlights.
FBI Director Christopher Wray testified before the House Judiciary Committee on Wednesday. Now, among other things, lawmakers tried to find out why the shooter tried to kill former President Trump and what the FBI knew about him before the incident happened. Here's how it went.
There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of rhyme or reason to it so far.
Wray told lawmakers that the FBI is currently looking into the shooter's personal devices, his social media accounts, and more. So far, without much success.
We do not yet have a clear picture of his motive. You might see a manifesto, things like that. We're not seeing that yet, but we are digging in hard because this is one of the central questions for us.
Wray explained why the FBI didn't make much progress yet. He says that even after they got their hands on the phone, new challenges popped up.
It turned out he was using some encrypted messaging application.
And again, the same question relative to the bombs: was this pretty sophisticated, or is this is the kind of the norm you see with folks like similar situation?
On this subject, I would say this has unfortunately now become very commonplace, and it's a real challenge for not just the FBI but state and local law enforcement all over.
Another pressing question is what the FBI knew about the shooter before the incident happened. Florida Republican Matt Gaetz questioned Wray on that.
We did not have any information about the shooter. He was not in our holdings before the shooting.
No communication in any chat rooms, no CIs or confidential human sources have any interaction?
No, we've run a thorough search for the subject through all of our holdings, and he was not in them anywhere.
Wray made clear that investigations are still ongoing and that the FBI will disclose more information as the probe continues. Arian Bazdar, NTD News.
And on Capitol Hill, NTD's Washington correspondent Jack Bradley spoke to several members of Congress about how they felt about FBI Director Wray's testimony.
FBI Director Christopher Wray revealing new details about the assassination attempt of former President Trump. It was met with mixed reactions here from members of Congress at the House Judiciary Committee.
I think clearly there were some lapses, but we'll find out more. I think it was right that, what's her name, Cheadle resigned. But I think the FBI is doing what it can.
He appears to be trying to be very forthcoming about what they've found out with respect to the shooting in Butler County, within the bounds of trying to make sure they don't mess up their investigation.
These kinds of hearings are meant to make sure that we, as a federal government, are doing the best job we can to protect our candidates. Both sides of the aisle. Our democracy depends on it. We have to make sure we have the trust of the people, trust of the nation to make sure democracy works.
And as far as the local law enforcement, what they told you personally, what were they saying?
Not enough communication, not enough coordination. And my line of questionings, I try to, again, emphasize that I was told by some of the locals quietly, they weren't sure what was going on. And that's not a good statement.
I'll just say violence has never been the answer, and I don't think political parties should be relevant here because it's clear that this did not have to do with political party. The FBI has been handling this investigation with professionalism, and Director Wray has been incredibly forthcoming.
While I may not like everything that the FBI does, and I've certainly criticized surveillance and other things, surveillance of American citizens, I also think it is important to have an agency a law enforcement agency that is not subject to the whims of the president and is actually politically independent and can follow investigations to the conclusion.
What else can be done by the FBI to prevent future acts of violence like this?
They can just have their intelligence extensive to try to find out if there's somebody out there trying to plan something.
As the FBI continues its investigation into the assassination attempt of former President Trump, there are many unanswered questions left to be resolved. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Jack Bradley, NTD News.
And Vice President Kamala Harris hits the campaign trail today in Indiana. She addressed an international Black women's sorority at their annual convention, where she talked about the focus of her campaign. Harris says she's running for president because the future of the country is at stake.
I wonder if they know about all the black men.
In this moment, our nation needs your leadership once again.
Release dates.
In this moment,
in prison.
I believe we face a choice between two different visions for our nation. One focused on the future, the other focused on the past. And with your support, I am fighting for our nation's future.
Harris also mentioned that if she were elected, she'll continue implementing the programs she and President Biden have created. She told the African American Women's Group that she's not playing around when it comes to fighting for economic and social justice for all Americans.
Yeah.
And Fox
What
News
about
has
the
proposed
black
a
man
new
she kept
debate
in
to the
prison?
presidential campaigns of Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. The proposed date will be at September 17th. No word from either campaign if they've agreed to participate. Next, a voter registration group says that nearly 40,000 people have registered to vote in the last 2 days. This comes after President Joe Biden announced he was exiting the race and endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris. According to Vote.org, more than 38,000 new voters registered. This marks the highest number of registrations within a 48-hour period for this election cycle. According to the nonprofit voting registration organization, 83% of the new voter registrations were from people aged 18 to 34. They also said these numbers are better than last September. That was when Taylor Swift implored her followers, to register, which saw 34,000 new registered voters in 48 hours. And on a different note, CrowdStrike says a bug in a software update is the cause of last week's global computer outage. The computer crash is causing continued flight delays and cancellations at Delta Airlines, which is slowly getting its operations back to normal.
Delta is still canceling dozens of flights and delaying hundreds more today, according to information from airline tracker FlightAware. In a statement, the air carrier's CEO, Ed Bastian, said he anticipates less delays today than the previous 2 days. Bastian also noted Delta is steadily moving toward fully restoring its operations since the CrowdStrike outage. As Delta works to get back to normal, a stranded and weary passenger who was stuck in Salt Lake City explains what the experience has been like.
In the club room there in Salt Lake City, I tried to get with a service representative. I was given a time of 222 minutes before I could speak to anyone. So I called Delta and was on hold for over 2.5 hours.
Today, CrowdStrike provided more information about what exactly caused the digital meltdown. In an early post-incident review for its clients, CrowdStrike stated an undetected error in the security upgrade for Windows-based systems was to blame. The cybersecurity company also noted it has a fix that will prevent such a crash from reoccurring, which includes improved testing methods. Once the review is complete, CrowdStrike plans to release a full report to the public.
Thank you for watching NTD Newsroom. I'm Stephanie Cox. Join Tiffany Meyer for the NTD Evening News at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific. See you tomorrow.